If you're bringing home $3,000 a month, there's no reason why your expenses per month should be $4,000. Something ain't right here. Hey, beautiful human, thanks for clicking on this video. Welcome back to The Struggle. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rose, and typically I post videos related to my fitness struggle journey. So you're probably thinking, if you post fitness related stuff, why are you sitting down talking about a book? Well, I do the 75 hard challenge. I'm actually currently doing my third round of the challenge right now as we speak. And one of the daily rules of the challenge is that I have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. And typically I like to read self-help, motivation, like get myself together kind of books. But I recently picked up a book on finances, and I want to get into, financial freedom and also to just finding different ways to make money. So I'm gearing my reading towards that and just other things in general. So instead of incorporating the reading like I normally do, which is at the end of my usual videos, I thought, what if I just post the videos separate? For two reasons. Because I feel like some people are not on a weight loss journey. And also in about 10 years from now, I'm probably not going to be on a weight loss journey. At least I hope not. But I do like what I get from these books, and I do want to have them all in one place, all in one playlist where I can go directly to without watching all the weight loss stuff. So that's why we're sitting down talking about a book. Today in particular, we are reading, or I guess I'll be going over this book, Everyday Millionaires. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The only reason I picked up this book, I was at Target, and it was like the end of January, or the end of December rather, and Black History Month was coming along, and I was like, I have not read a single book by a Black author, and I saw this Black man on the cover, and I was like, yeah, this should be it. And I've been daydreaming about becoming a millionaire for so long, and I thought, why not pick it up? So in this book, which I later realized it's a whole different book than what I thought. It started off as a super slow read, but then as we got towards the end, it started getting good with the little drops of gems. So this book is all about how ordinary people like you and me build extraordinary wealth and how we can do it too. So I'm not going to give you everything from this book because then, So this is what the book looks like. It's by Chris Hogan, Everyday Millionaire. And again, it is stories about everyday millionaires. And then he has the millionaires themselves, they give some really good tips as to how they got to where they were. And then Chris Hogan also gives some good tips about what you can start doing to get there too. So today I want to share with you 10 things I learned just from reading this book alone, and some things that you can put into application. I'll link his website in the description box, as well as some YouTube channels that I tend to browse or go to when I need, we'll say, financial advice, but like financial guidance type thing. So I'll link them down below. One of my favorites is FrugalChicLife, and then Graham Stephan, of course, and the Financial Diet, and I'll link whatever else comes to mind as I edit this video. So check the links in the description box if you want to get your finances together. So without further ado, let's get into 10 things I learned reading Everyday Millionaires. These are in no particular order, and hopefully I don't blab too much. Some of them are direct quotes, and some of them are just loosely based on what he's saying. And most of these things you've probably heard before. Like me, you just never, put it into practice. Well, if you're looking for a sign to start saving and start working towards retirement, this is it. The most important thing I think I learned, and I didn't even write it down here, was you're never too young to start planning for retirement. Boy, if I knew that when I was 20, I'd be a long way ahead. I wouldn't have to be retiring at 65, that's for sure. But one of the first things you need to make sure happens when you're ready to start getting on your millionaire journey is being prepared, mentally prepared, emotionally prepared for the wealth. Is it Tupac? He has a song, More Money, More Problems. If it's not, forgive me. Old school rap is not really my main genre of music, but More Money, More Problems, that is a fact. Okay, have you ever noticed that when you get a raise, all of a sudden you feel the need to get a new car, to get a new bedroom set, to get a new this, to get a new that? That's not by coincidence, okay? The idea here is when you elevate your finances, whether it's you got a raise at work, you got a bonus, you got a side hustle, or whatever it is, your lifestyle should not elevate with it just yet. Unless you are financially free already, then by all means, spend that money. But if you have debts to be paid, those raises, those bonuses should be going towards those debts, okay? Be emotionally ready, be mentally prepared, because if you're not, that money is gonna go as quickly as it came. Tip number 2, you really don't need a fancy job or a fancy college degree to become a millionaire. All the people he talked about in the book were pretty much farmers, school teachers, basic everyday people, very few doctors, very few trust fund babies. In fact, I don't think he talked about anybody who was a trust fund baby or just got their wealth on a whim, kind of like how we're doing in 2020 and 2021. So all these people had basic everyday jobs. So the same way they have basic everyday jobs, you and I probably have basic everyday jobs, and you can start by saving some money. How you can save money, you can read the book and find out like the different ways he suggests you save money. I'll also include a few tips here, but you don't need a fancy job or a college degree to start being a millionaire. And with that, as long as you're making excuses for yourself, you're not gonna make any progress. This is true in terms of weight loss, in terms of financial freedom, and in terms of anything. If you want something bad enough, God willing, you will find a way to make it happen. Legally, of course. Everything I say here is legally. So if you're thinking, like for me, for example, oh, I'm a teacher, I could never be a millionaire. Well, I'm probably right, because I'm not going to be working towards being a millionaire. There's so many side hustles out there. There's so many ways you can use your talents. So find a way to make it happen and stop making excuses. 4 and 5 kind of go hand in hand. He says, know where your money is going. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down, and these are the times when I look at my credit card statement and it's a lot higher than I thought. And then I'm just like, where did that happen? How did that happen? So if you know where your money is going, you can better plan for it. So sit down at the beginning of a month, at the end of a year, quarterly, whatever, and make a budget. And most importantly, stick to the budget. Lord of mercy, stick to the budget. Stop living a caviar lifestyle on a hamburger menu. On a hamburger salary, like you have to. If you try to get somewhere financially, you have to buckle down and really know, where is my money going. There are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to create a budget, on how to budget paycheck to paycheck, how to do like every dollar budget. Dave Ramsey, which is somebody that Chris Hogan is affiliated with, he does the, what is it called? Every dollar, something like that, every dollar budget. And so that might be something you're interested in looking at, because you need to know where your money is going. And then with that, live on less than you make. If you make $50,000, there's no reason why at the end of the year, your expense sheet should stay $60,000. If you're bringing home $3,000 a month, there's no reason why your expenses per month should be $4,000. Something ain't right here. You should always be making more money than you spent. Hence why you should know where your dollars are going. And like I mentioned earlier, it should not mean an upgraded lifestyle. If you're making $3,000, you should be saving 15% of that for emergency fund, another 15% for retirement, another 15% for something else. You should be giving 10%. You should be making sure that your money is going to places that are going to set you up for success, not going to places that's going to set you up for failure. What I mean by that is, if your credit card is $4,000 at the end of the month and you can't afford to pay it off, well, guess what? You spent too much on your credit card. This is not to say that if there's a dire emergency that you can take care of with your credit card, you shouldn't. I mean, why not? But this is to say, if you go to the mall and you see those new pair of shoes, that new bag that you want, and you know darn sure that if you rack up that credit card statement, you can't afford to pay it at the end of the month, then sweetheart, baby, you shouldn't be swiping your credit card. One of the first things I did when I got my credit card, and this ties in to step 6, which is just say no to debt. If there's debt in front of it, then just say no, thank you. Okay, it's the only debt that Hogan mentions that it's acceptable to have, or at least a good place to have, is a home, okay? Because at least you know you'll be there for 30 something years if you choose to live in the city for a long time. And at the end of the mortgage, you know it will turn into something that's an asset. Other than that, a car loan, just say no. Education loan, just say no. A loan to get that shopping spree going, just say no. Live on less than you make. One rule of thumb that I followed, and even though I wish I got more financial advice when I was younger, I think the best financial advice I got, and I can't remember where I got it, but when I was 18, I got my very first credit card. I started with $500, and I knew that whatever money I spent, I had to have. So while most people were thinking, okay, I have an extra $500 a month, I was thinking, okay, I don't have an extra $500 a month. This is a way that I could build my credit. This is a way for me at the time. I got cash back points. My thinking was, okay, if I got 1% cash back when I spent $100, a portion of that was going to come back to me in the form of, what do you call it? Cash back. And nowadays is upgraded to like travel points. So that's why I swipe my credit card, honestly. But I also know that at the end of the month, rain or shine, whatever that balance is, I need to be able to pay it. And if I can't pay it, that's when the trouble starts. Because that time, that $100 you spent on a pair of shoes can easily become $200, $300 just by interest alone. So if there's anything I can tell you that I've been doing for my entire financial adult life, responsible adult life, it's that whatever my credit card balance is at the end of the month, I pay it off. Okay. And if you can't afford to pay off your credit card at the end of the month, then really look at your statement and ask yourself, did I need this, and that? Because a lot of times, I think when we first start with credit cards, we're told, okay, use it for emergencies only. But as a 16, 18-year-old, everything is an emergency, it seems like, right? And even as adults, we feel like everything is an emergency. No, not everything deserves that credit card swipe. So before you swipe, ask yourself, do I have that on my bank account? If you don't swipe. That one I'm very passionate about because I've been doing that. And then he talks about Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Unless you're new to this YouTube streets, you've probably seen or heard Ramsey's baby steps somewhere, some shape or the other. Most financial channels is what I should say, or a quick Google search can tell you exactly what Dave Ramsey's baby steps are in detail, but I'll just go ahead and list them here. First thing first is you want to save $1,000 at bare minimum. So ask yourself, do I have $1,000 saved up? If so, step one, complete. Step two is to pay off any debts. That doesn't include the house because I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of money just sitting around to just pay off the house. But he's talking about credit card debts, student loan debts, car debts, those kind of debts. Pay them off and pay them off right away. Next thing you want to do is save 3 to 6 months of expenses in like an emergency fund account, because if 2020 has taught us anything, is that nothing is permanent. People lost jobs left and right. Some people are still not able to work. And how much did the government give? I don't remember. $1,200? I think it was $1,200. $1,200 and then another $600. What is that going to do? Rent is more expensive than that if you're renting. And for some people who have mortgage, when you add home insurance, car insurance, health insurance, and all that on top of that, that's not going to do anything. So that's a perfect situation where having 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up would have come in super handy, because yes, you would have felt the impact, but it wouldn't have been as daunting if you had that kind of money saved up. So keep that in mind. Start working on that. I know right now, like I mentioned, like some people are still without jobs, so it may not be feasible or even possible to start saving 3 to 6 months of income right away, or 3 to 6 months of expenses right away. But save what you can. Save anything extra that you can. I know a lot of people use cash or cash envelopes, and then whatever's left over, they put that towards their debt, or they do, I think they call it the debt snowball effect, where they pay the smallest debt, then the second smallest, and just take that money over. That is one thing I wish I did though. When I paid off my car loan, I wish I took that money I was paying my car loan to save. I started doing that, and then I went wrong somewhere, some shape or the other. And then when I finished paying off my student loan, or pretty much most of it was forgiven, but I paid off my student loan for 5 years. But I could have taken that money and put it towards something else. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, blah, blah, blah. But you get what I mean. So save where you can. The next thing you want to do is save 15% into retirement. He mentions the 401k. He mentions a Roth IRA. And I actually was encouraged after reading this book to make an appointment with a financial advisor to really sit down and buckle down and get those things done. Because when I first started teaching, how long ago did I start teaching? 9 years ago, 8 years ago, let's see, 4, 7, am I in my third year here or second year? 9, we'll just go with 9 years ago. When I started teaching like 9 or 10 years ago, there were people all over the place at the new teacher orientation, like, hey, come on, open a account, like contribute to your 403b and all that extra stuff. And I had no clue what they were talking about. So for me, all I could think about was, this is my first job. I'm not trying to put like 25%, 15% of my money into an account I'm never going to see again. Boy, oh boy, little did I know that would have been the best decision of my life. And that's happened every single year, but each time I find an excuse to either put nothing or way too little in there. So now that I'm approaching 32, creeping up on 32 in about a month, I think it's time that I start taking it a little serious, like a little bit more seriously, and start working towards that. The advantage is when you start out younger, a little bit goes a long way due to compound interest. When you start out as old as I am, or as old as I'm getting, you're gonna have to invest more for the same thing you would have gotten had you started at, 25. You would have gotten more at 25 than you would now at 32. But lessons learned. That's why I'm making this video, so you don't make the same mistake. If you know somebody who's in their 20s or just starting their career, share this video with them, share these tips with them, link them to some people who's going to get them on the right path, and tell them to start saving. Okay, start saving. I should have way more money saved up than what I do now, but what are you going to do about it? I used to think, or my mentality was, because at least in my family, I don't know anyone that's lived beyond, I don't know how old grandma is. I don't know, grandma's probably like 70-ish, if that. So for me, I've never seen anyone in my family live to be super old. So I always thought, I'm going to spend my money while I'm young. I don't want to save all this money and then have somebody else spend it. I don't plan on having children, God willing. And so it's like, I want to spend my money now. But at the end of the day, it's like, what if I live to be 65 or older? Then what? Then I'm going to be up the creek without a paddle. Is that how it goes? I think that's how it goes. So yes, get it together. That was step 4. Invest 15% into retirement. Step 5 is to save for your kids' college funds if you have children. I ain't got no kids, so we're gonna skip that step and go to step 6, which is to pay off your home early. And the thing about paying your home off early is, I've heard mixed reviews about paying your home early, but I'm anti-debt. Like, debt makes me uncomfortable, which is why I want to pay my credit card off by the end of the month. And the only debt I have right now hanging over my head is this home. So my goal is to make sure that I pay it off as quickly as I can. And that just means contributing more towards the principal balance, because I just looked at a statement that they send you for your taxes. And the amount of money I pay towards interest is ridiculous, okay? So whatever extra you can afford to pay towards your home, go ahead and do that. Man, this sliding must be all over the place. I know that. And then number 7 is to build wealth and give. Once you've taken care of your loans, you can start working strictly on making sure that your account for retirement is nice and healthy. And then don't forget to give. One thing my mom always did, whether she had money or not, is she always made it a point to tithe. She always paid her 10% at the church. And meanwhile, I was like, what am I giving you 10% of my money for? But it's true, when you give without doing much, you do receive in return. I mean, don't give just for the point of receiving, but just know, just feeling like you can contribute and help somebody out, it's a great feeling. So do that. And step 8, I kind of already mentioned, which is to invest early. You want to invest in a 401k or 403b or whatever they're called. Look into it. Get a financial advisor. If you have a job or a career, go to HR and ask them about 401k, how much they match. And Hogan recommends that you match up to 100% of whatever they're giving you. It's basically quote unquote free money. Even though in economics we learned there's no such thing as free lunch, but free money. And then anything with Roth, anything you want to contribute to. So he says, go ahead and maximize your investments in your 401k and then go ahead and invest into your Roth IRA. I am not a financial advisor. I probably should have said that in the very beginning, but these are just things I'm telling you. Take them as starting points and look into them yourselves. Do your own research, connect with people. I'm going to link his website in the description box. He has tons of great tools on his website that you can use as well. 9, the goal, of course, should be financial independence. You're financially independent when all you have are assets. When you have no debts and you can just get up and go as you wish. I can't tell you how many days I wake up and I'm just like, I don't want to work today. Or I'm scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on YouTube, and somebody's gone somewhere and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I would love to go there. But guess what? I can't, because I have to sit down, I have to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Okay, that took me a place, but you get the point I'm saying. You want to be financially free. Financial freedom gives you the ability to just get up and go as you wish, and you can't do that if you have bills to worry about. And most importantly, rule number 10, the most important rule of all, is be patient. Like, these people were not retiring, I know, 25, 30, 40 years old. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them retired at 55. But man, it is a long process. That's why the sooner you start, the better. And the other thing I failed to mention is, if you do plan on retiring early, I mean, you get penalized for that. Can you imagine, like, you can't retire until this age? If you do, you get penalized. So make sure you save enough money to cover the gap. So if you want to retire at 50, but the age is 65, make sure you save enough to live for the 15 years between the 50 and the 65. Yeah, keep that in mind. So yeah, those are all the things that I learned reading this beautiful little book here, Everyday Millionaires. I think I might have to read it again with a more open mind, because when I first started reading it, I wasn't into it because, again, it wasn't what I thought I picked up. But it was a good read. I would recommend that you read about it and then decide if it's a book for you. But that's everything I had to share. Those are the 10 things I learned. I hope you learned something too. As far as these little book reports per se, the books will vary, of course. And if you are interested in what I learned from other books, I think I'll either sit down and make separate videos for the books that I've read before. But in the meanwhile, you can also just check any of the playlists that I have for my weight loss challenge and just go to the end of the video. That's why I share what I learned about the books. So thank you for tuning in. I might see you on the next one if you hang around and subscribe for my weight loss content. If you want to just do the book, you can come back in about a month or so. That's about how long it takes me to finish a book. And I'll see you on the next one. Until then, I will tell you what I tell all my fitness struggle people. Make good choices. And in this case, make good financial choices, because otherwise you're going to be broke and old, and that ain't cute. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.